The weight of everything. The rain had been falling for 3 days straight when Emma finally stopped running. She stood in the doorway of Mason's garage, her designer heels clicking against the oil-stained concrete. Her silk blouse was soaked through, clinging to her shoulders. Her hair, usually styled to perfection, hung in wet strands around her face. She didn't care anymore. There was nothing left to care about. Mason looked up from beneath the hood of an old Ford truck. His hands were covered in grease, his gray t-shirt spotted with motor oil. When he saw her standing there, something shifted in his expression. He'd known Emma for 6 years now, ever since their daughter Lily was born. He'd seen her confident, he'd seen her angry, he'd even seen her afraid. But he'd never seen her like this. Broken. Emma, he said quietly, setting down his wrench. What happened? She opened her mouth to speak, but no words came out. Instead, she just shook her head, water droplets flying from her hair. Her hands trembled as she wrapped her arms around herself. Mason grabbed a clean shop towel and walked over to her slowly, the way you might approach something fragile and about to shatter. He held out the towel, and she took it with shaking hands, pressing it against her face. "Where's Lily?" he asked. "With my mother," Emma managed to say. Her voice sounded hollow, like it was coming from somewhere far away. I didn't know where else to go." Mason guided her to the small office at the back of the garage. There was a worn leather couch there, cracked with age but comfortable. Emma sank into it, and for a long moment, neither of them spoke. The rain drummed against the metal roof, a steady rhythm that filled the silence. "The company's gone," Emma finally said. Her voice was flat, emotionless. 10 years of work, everything I built, it's all gone. Mason pulled up a metal stool and sat across from her. He didn't interrupt, he just listened. "The board voted me out this morning," she continued, staring at her hands. Her perfectly manicured nails seemed ridiculous now, a remnant of a life that no longer existed. "They said I was too aggressive with expansion. Too risky. The investors lost confidence after the merger fell through." She laughed, but there was no humor in it. Just a hollow, bitter sound. "I mortgaged everything to keep it afloat these past 6 months. The penthouse, the beach house, the investments, all of it. I thought if I could just hold on a little longer, we'd turn it around." She looked up at him, her eyes red and swollen. "I was wrong." Mason's jaw tightened, but he remained quiet. He knew there was more. "I have nothing left, Mason. No company, no home, no savings." Her voice cracked. "I built an empire, and I lost it all in 6 months. Everything I worked for, everything I am, gone." She buried her face in her hands, and her shoulders began to shake with silent sobs. The rain continued its steady percussion above them, indifferent to the collapse of Emma's carefully constructed world. Mason stood up slowly. He walked to a small cabinet and pulled out 2 bottles of water, handing one to Emma. She took it without looking up. He sat back down and waited. He'd learned a long time ago that sometimes the most important thing you could do for someone was simply be present. Not try to fix everything. Not offer empty platitudes, just be there. After what felt like an eternity, Emma's breathing steadied. She wiped her eyes with the towel and took a long drink of water. When she finally looked at Mason, she expected to see pity. Or judgment, or even satisfaction. After all, she'd left him 3 years ago, claiming his simple life wasn't enough for her ambitions. Instead, she saw something else. Entirely, understanding, and beneath that, something deeper. Something that had never really left. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "I shouldn't have come here. You don't need my problems dumped on your doorstep." Mason shook his head. "You're not a problem, Emma. You never were. I lost everything," she said again, as if saying it enough times would make it feel real. Mason was quiet for a moment. Then he spoke, his voice calm and steady as always. "No, you didn't." Emma looked at him with confusion and fresh tears welling in her eyes. "You still have her," Mason said simply. The words hit Emma like a physical force. Her breath caught in her throat. "You still have Lily," Mason continued, his voice gentle but firm. "And she doesn't care about the penthouse or the company or any of it. She just wants her mom." Emma's hands began to shake again, but this time it was different. This time, something was breaking open inside her chest, not breaking apart, but breaking free. "These past 3 years," Mason said, "I've watched you build something incredible. And I've been proud of you, Emma. Really proud. But I've also watched you miss bedtime stories. Miss dance recitals. Miss Tuesday morning pancakes. He paused. Lily asked me last month why mommy was always tired. She thought maybe you were tired of her. Emma let out a sob. Oh God, she's 3 years old, Mason said softly. And she thinks the sun rises and sets with you. That hasn't changed. That can't be taken away by any board of directors or failed merger. Emma stood up abruptly and walked to the office window. Outside, the rain was beginning to slow. Through the streaked glass, she could see the blurry outlines of the city beyond, the city where she'd once ruled from a corner office on the 42nd floor. I don't know who I am without it all, she admitted quietly. Mason stood and walked over to her. He stood beside her, both of them looking out at the rain. Then maybe this is your chance to find out. They stood there in silence for a while, watching the rain gradually fade to a drizzle. Somewhere in the distance, the sun was trying to break through the clouds. I'm scared, Emma whispered. I know, Mason said. But you're not alone. You never were. Emma turned to look at him. Really look at him. Mason, with his grease-stained hands and simple life. Mason, who'd never chased fortune or status. Mason, who'd been there every single time Lily needed him. Mason, who was standing here now, offering her grace when she least deserved it. Can I pick her up? Emma asked suddenly. From my mother's. I want to. I need to see her. Mason smiled. She'd love that. Emma nodded slowly. She took a deep breath, feeling something shift inside her. The panic was still there. The fear, the shame, but underneath it all, something else was growing. Something that felt almost like hope. Mason, she said quietly. Thank you. He just nodded. Come on, I'll drive you. As they walked out of the garage together, the rain had stopped completely. The air smelled clean and new. Emma looked down at her ruined designer heels and her soaked clothes, and for the first time in years, she didn't care how she looked. She was going to see her daughter. And maybe, just maybe, that was everything she needed after all.